Crank up that feedback, son. That's what I mean. Something that I personally often struggled with is, how do I write captivating melodies? And how do I make the process of writing melodies actually fun? Why does it always have to feel like something tedious when I open up a MIDI clip, I draw in the notes, and it doesn't end up really sounding good? I scroll through presets and I'm like, no, this isn't it. A way to transition into creating more intuitive and authentic sounding melodies is to not start with them. Is to start with some kind of melodic or harmonic floor sound. What do I mean by that? Well, it could be something as lush as a pad, like a really long sound that may be a bit ambient in a way, but it could also be something rhythmic. And what we're looking for is something that'll inspire us to create a melody without even having to think about, which note to draw in, which preset to select. We want something that sparks an emotion in us, and you get that with those floor sounds. And that's what I want to show you how to do today. So I have a bit of a session prepared here, and you can see how simple it is if I play. Literally just kick and hi-hat. So there's no complexity in the drums because I want to focus on getting the melodic idea first, okay? You can see that I have a few tracks prepared here. One is called the Loop Ideas, and this track I can collapse because it was a previous idea. I'll show it to you later. And then we have a few return channels over here. And if you hit Command, Option, and R, you can blend these in or blend them out. So what I'll do is I'm going to look for some kind of a tonal sample. And I do have a few of those in the different packs that I've created. I'm going to go into Eclipse for this because I have a few WAV files here. Just any tonal material. It doesn't really matter for now. And we'll put that into this audio track, yeah, that I've named Loop Ideas. And I'll drag it to the end of the loop here, which is a total of 16 bars, yeah? You can see that it's looped over here. On return channel A, I have called this one Delay Resample, and it contains a delay plugin on it, which is called H Delay by Waves. And you don't necessarily need this delay. There's tons of different delays, also able in stock delays like Echo, which I find to be also fantastic. Echo Boy Jr. by Sound Toys is also really fun. Just get some kind of a delay and put it onto this return channel, yeah? I like H Delay because it has this modulation rate, which allows a bit of pitch variation, which is kind of cool, and this analog, which I believe introduces some noise, and the feedback sounds good too. All right, in order for this to work, you need to make sure that you set this channel to pre and not post. Post is the default setting, but you want to set it to pre, which means pre-fader. That means that even though the channel is at -infinity, we can still utilize these sends over here, yeah? If I hit tab, you can see that these sends are before the fader, yeah? So it won't matter at what level this is. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I just want to resample the wet signal, yeah? You can see that whatever's on the return channel over here is always set to 100% wet. This gives us just the affected signal, yeah? Those are what return channels are ultimately for. So if I hit tab again, we can now see that if I hit play and I send this channel using send A into the delay, and I pull it back down, you get those little feedback tails. That's what we want. If we set it to post fader, it won't do anything, yeah? So that's why you got to make sure to set it to pre-fader. So what I'm going to do now is create a new audio track by hitting Command T. So you see a new audio track's been created underneath the Loop Ideas channel. Now I'll give it a different color, just like this, and I'll rename it into Resampled Delays only, because we're ultimately just going to resample what's coming out of here, which is the fully wet signal, yeah? So that means that we, in the input channel over here, have to set it to Delay Resample, which is our return channel A, as you can see here, okay? Leave it on post mixer. Make sure that it's record armed. Select your starting point and hit record. So now whenever we send information into A, that's going to be resampled into this audio track. And since I've mapped it, this guy over here, my controller, I can just send little bursts of information into that send channel. see, just up and down, the short little bursts, okay? Okay, so what else we got? It's fun to do this with a little MIDI controller. You could also open up the delay and mess with the feedback. If you get longer feedback, then the tails usually start to twist into each other. It sounds really cool. So. And it doesn't matter if the recording overwrites, just let it run through. And you can also slowly send into that return channel. You don't always have to just like quickly crank it up and down, so give it a bit of time. And if you change the delay timing, you get different results, yeah? Different rhythms. So this would be an eighth note. Crank up that feedback, son. That's what I mean. Yeah. Let's try triplets. Okay, it doesn't work so much. It's because we have a static eighth note hi-hat, so triplets are not going to work. Maybe dotted 16th notes. 16th? Let's go dotted fourth notes. Also very nice. Maybe add a bit of depth here. You see the pitch modulation? Let's accentuate it more. Yeah, we don't want that much. Maybe just a slight bit. Also give some lo-fi. Oh, or not. You could do this all day. Maybe ping pong. Activate ping pong. That's a bit much. Maybe you could disable host and enable milliseconds, so you get this weird timing. And tweak the timing, so you get that tape delay sort of pitch shift. We're getting offbeat results, which might be interesting, yeah. Keep it on host. My favorite setting is dotted eighth notes, dude. And higher feedback. And it's always practical to have this map to a MIDI controller because that allows you to have your mouse focused on the plugin while having your left hand operate the send and return. You see over here? Anytime I can just chuck it in there and focus on the plugin in the settings in here. This. Listen to this. Getting those Guy J types of atmospheres here. That's it, dude. It's so simple, really. Now you can hit stop. Check down the feedback. There we go. Awesome. And you can see as we've overdubbed the recording, meaning that we have a 16 bar loop here and we've basically recorded on top of that loop over and over instead of having like one 15-minute recording. That means we have recorded multiple takes. And what I love about the new Ableton 12.2 update is that you always have the take lanes here on the track itself, so you could open it up here. I think if you don't have it, you could just insert take lanes. Yeah, there's a command to insert take lanes and show take lanes. If you don't see them, then I think you could also exit automation mode. So if you're in automation mode, as you can see here, then you won't be able to see your takes. But if you're outside of automation mode, you can then see the takes. So this gives you some material to work with, man. You have so much stuff here. And what you can do is just solo a particular section by hitting the loudspeaker icon and then hitting play, so you get the results only from that particular take. Or another take. So you can select your favorite takes and you have so much material. And this is just by using one sample. Imagine the possibilities. If you switch out the sample, you could also use synths, MIDI, to trigger the loop idea. So there's so much that you could start from this, yeah? I kind of like the last one the most. This one over here. Yeah, that little part at the end. This one. Yeah, so I could double click the audio clip and select a particular loop like this. Yeah, and hit Command L to loop that. It reminds me of that one Guy J track, I think Small Alarms, something like the intro where you got this like looping, atmospheric, rhythmic soundscape. You can even shorten the loop length like this. Right click, maybe go into 8th notes and extend it by 2 8th notes. So you're getting now polyrhythmic results. Because the loop length is uneven, it's not set to 4, but 3. Hope you get the point, yeah? Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 4th notes, we get 1, 2, 3 4th notes, which makes it cycle differently. And you can also change the pitch here. Change the warp mode. Maybe forward transient. 16th. Yeah, we'll keep it on forward transient. I think it's the cleanest for this particular rhythmic sequence. Yeah, and once you find a take that you like, for example, this one over here, you can just pull it up to the top and collapse all your other takes. Yeah, make sure that the clip is enabled. If you hit 0 on your number pad, you enable and disable clips, yeah? You can then further adjust along the way or select different parts of your loop. Maybe one that loops a little more flawlessly, like this. And now you have the rhythmic floor sound. And from this, we can then start to generate new ideas for melodies. Okay, so in this previous ideas little subgroup, I can enable it and record arm this Jupiter channel over here. So I then have the ability to play some notes. Yeah? Simple stuff. So that's how we come up with melodies, okay? We can just hit record and record whatever information into this track. Whatever you want. And by the end, you'll have something that sounds interesting. You can just take a little specific section like this, highlight, duplicate it over. Maybe I should have quantized it a little bit beforehand, so double click the clip and then hit Command U. And then duplicate it over. Tweak the synth over here, down to Jupiter. Oh, maybe more of a resonant bass. And remember that you can still further affect this resample delay channel. Maybe by sending it into another delay. I have an echo on channel C. Getting a little phasey. I have an experimental delay on channel D, Valhalla frequency echo. Put it to sync maybe. And you have already a track idea, and you can maybe stack loops on top and continue adding melodic information. For example, you could duplicate this Jupiter 8 channel, record arm it, delete the MIDI, play maybe a higher octave. Capture MIDI. Hit this button, you can capture MIDI, by the way. So if you play a sequence, and then hit capture MIDI, which would be this button, but I have it mapped to my controller, so I can always hit it here. So this sounds cool, yeah? This is something that we could take, duplicate it over. And we can continue to stack just these melody phrases on top of each other. Maybe less decay, sustain. Envelope 2, yeah. I hear a bit of offset in the timing, so I'll double click the first clip and hit Command U to quantize it. And then I'll duplicate this over so it's on the grid. And remember, you can at any time put material into channel A. So you could also send this channel into channel A, yeah? So you could create new atmospheric or rhythmic sequences from other material. You don't need a lot. It's enough if you have like these few layers. The rest you can do with the parameters of the synth. Incorporate more of a performative aspect into your music making process, yeah, rather than just seeing it as like this production, you know, like just MIDI note, top loop. At least have some fun and try to make it more tangible, you know, through mapping stuff to your MIDI controllers, playing around with cutoff, decay, sustain, release. You know, this is just a far more fun way to approach making music. So what do I have here? This was another example. I'll just loop it up to see how it sounds. Yeah. This was the resample delay, yeah? It's just so many possibilities. Sounds a bit like Patrice Boimel as well. Boimel? Take away the kick. It's almost like you have a little bit of a break, which gives you some room to play around with the synths again. Add some more reverb, delay. Fucking awesome, dude. And put the kick back in. Simple. That's how we do it. So yeah, you get so many different track ideas from doing this. It's more loop-based, of course, but it's very hypnotic. Like, I love these loop-based type of sounds. freaking dance to this all day, man. I like this one. I like this loop. And if you then spend some more time on the drums, you know, instead of just kick hi-hat, you can get yourself a really solid freaking idea for a track here, you know? Yeah. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I want to let this loop run in the background here. If you enjoy these sounds, feel free to grab them on LotusTunes. Sounds that I used from this particular video are from the Eclipse Progressive House Preset Pack, Deluxe Edition. Deluxe. I have other sounds like Roya, which I enjoy using a lot. Prog Organica's fairly new as well. So feel free to check those out on LotusTunes.com. Also subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.